I was told to look at the Russian buildup as well as what's coming out of North Korea, and I have to say, it is alarming. So let's talk about it. Stand by.
Offered Russia 100,000 volunteers to aid in the war against Ukraine. Ukraine harshly reacted to the offer.
Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a decree to draft more than 134,000 Russian citizens into the military.
Putin has ordered the Russian military to increase its armed forces by 137,000. The decree signed today did not explain whether that would happen with a draft.
Launched the Vostok 2022 military exercises later this month. Under the annual cooperation plan, the Chinese People's Liberation Army will send troops to Russia to participate in military drills. These are the first such exercises held by Russia since its invasion of Ukraine in February.
Hey, my WarfighterBravo loyalists, welcome back. If this is your first time, please make sure to check out some of my other work. Go to the WarfighterBravo Facebook page or the website to check out some of my other stuff. I might miss you on this topic, but I may have covered something you would be interested in a different one. Networking is key, knowledge is power is what I like to go by. I believe it, I hold it close to my heart. This is why I do this, so that we can talk about subjects and debate them. And here is one for you. This was highly requested after I was in Gastonia, North Carolina, which, by the way, all of that went well. I do apologize. It's been a few days since I've done a video. That was because I was wrapping up intel down there. I had some private investigation stuff come back and got several good reports. It's amazing what you can get legally. But anyways, I digress. We are going to be looking into what was a requested subject, and that is the expansion of the Russian military, but also how it coordinates with North Korea saying that it would give almost the same amount in volunteers from their country, which is alarming because we're going to take a look into history whenever we're looking at these kind of things. First and foremost, let's just start with the brutal reality. Ukraine would never beat Russia. If you're any type of tactician, or if you're into war strategy, or if you've looked into history, you would understand attrition. And Russia very clearly could outlast, think of it like a medieval siege battle. There's just no way that Ukraine will be able to keep up the supply. We are talking about Ukraine that also mentioned that the U.S. people are suffering from war fatigue, that we are not as passionate about their war. And I mean, you know, when one of your generals is George Soros, I can't imagine why Americans would be skeptical, right? Or Zelensky when you go and take photos with Vogue while your people are suffering and dying on the battlefield. You tend to not care anymore. And then we as Americans are also suffering from the highest inflation we've seen. We have the worst president in our friggin' history at this point with the lowest approval rating. And so we are battling and trying to survive in our own ways here, and we're watching the sweat from off our back getting sent out to a place where it's already been discovered and announced. Even CBS has covered this, that they are not even sure anywhere from zero when it hits Ukraine, any of our support, any of our money, any of our equipment and everything like that. They had nobody monitoring that, which is kind of a lovely coincidence, don't you think? Then on top of that, CBS says that only 30% has been accounted for since the initial report. And then they redacted that in their documentary, but you released the truth, it's too late, and you wonder why they're suffering from war fatigue. Okay? Even our own media and government has kind of backed off a little bit with the Ukraine-Russia propaganda, quite simply because we don't want to hear about more money going out of our country, right? We're already in this massive realization that taxation is complete theft, that we've been being robbed blind, that our money is essentially just going right into the rich, that they're taking a freaking considerable cut for the work that they're already getting paid for. If you haven't liked this video yet, you should probably do it now. So, we have the alarming corruption. We know that there's, allegedly money laundering, and we know that a lot of the equipment is just going out the back door, being sold to God knows who. We also have realized that, it's kind of hard to take a conflict serious when your president is taking pictures with Vogue, right? And then when you start looking into the history of this certain president, you realize that this is a joke beyond any comparison. I thought our leader was an absolute joke. The Ukrainian leader, oh my gosh. Look into his history, please. Okay? In that history, you will find him dressed in very odd things. Okay? And so, he might call it war fatigue. I call it a narcissist whining that he's not getting the attention anymore. And now that he went to Vogue, a malignant narcissist, in my opinion. Now, the alarming thing is, Vladimir Putin is, when it comes to tactics, he is a genius tactician. No, I do not back Russia. I don't back any type of conflict where we are losing innocent lives for what, the East or the West elites. Take your pick, right? So I don't like unnecessary suffering and all of that. But the reality is that the initial impact that Vladimir Putin did by sending in about 10 to 15,000 initially, a lot of people took that as an initial joke, but that's great that they did, because, and that's exactly what Vladimir Putin wanted, if he would have done shock and awe, it would have been game over. Okay? NATO would have had every reason to invade, and it would have been a lost cause. By going in incrementally, sorry, TBI is messing with me today. By going in little by little, okay, he was able to go secure, I'll call them the BLs, right? Because of how bad it is now, even in the United States. What now? I guess only BitChute will allow this. But anyways, we all know that there was a lot of those discovered. And I mean, in reality, let me look at it like this. Let me see. Moscow is parked right there, right? And you find a ton of weapons of a bio nature sitting right there in the enemy's hands. You watch what happened in 2020, and you think to yourself, I don't want that happening to my country. It's kind of hard to have public support for that, saying, well, we are going to do a better job and not let anything escape. Well, unfortunately, the world's trust in all of that has been completely freaking obliterated, okay? Any hope of trust now within the world agencies has died like a star imploding in on itself. There's just no way I don't ever see there being a recovery, because we've been pillaged. Look around the world. It's not just the United States. Look around the world. It reminds me of a grape stem that's had the grapes plucked off, and now it's a stem, but they're still trying to pluck grapes. You know, if I could just put it out there like that. So now, the problem, and why I've looked into this, and why it's very, very, very concerning, is the fact that Russia has, Vladimir Putin has agreed and signed off on bringing in a considerable amount more into the Russian military. Okay, and the worst part is he could have, I mean, these numbers are nothing in comparison to what he could call forward. But then we line it up with North Korea stating that they would send almost the exact same number in support as volunteers, essentially. Okay? These people, what you don't understand is the number that North Korea would send would free that up of Russians to go to the front. So that is alarming. That means that we're somewhere in the 250 to 260,000 range. Now, we go even further into history. Russia is sending, when we were looking at the Korean War, okay, what I like to consider the forgotten war, North Korea and South Korea, and Douglas MacArthur was our 5-star and was all haughty and full of pride over the World War II victory. He thought he couldn't be stopped. He didn't take into consideration attrition and numbers. North Korea was well known to have Chinese soldiers get into their uniforms to bolster their numbers. North Korea decides to send 100,000. There's no way to track the numbers. And we know they have a history of working together with their communist friends. So that is very alarming, because that could instantly free up another 100,000. We are talking shock and awe numbers. And we know that war profiteers, and I know you're looking around here like, are you kidding me, you freaking hypocrite? Stand by. I'll get into this in a second. We know that war profiteers are essentially going to be looking for any way to get back some public support. They also know they're going to have to do something big, right? And I believe that there could be either a Russian counter operation, and that's why they're doing this build-up, because they're anticipating some type of action from NATO, from our president, to kind of stir things back up. Okay? Anything from, if you haven't been paying attention, a nuclear reactor, that we've heard multiple angles and propagandas. People are saying Russia is now guarding it from Ukraine. Ukraine is shelling it, trying to get it to explode, which obviously could be the one event I'm talking about. Do you see how it starts lining up almost perfectly? When you just really start talking about it and breaking down the nuts and bolts, it comes together very well. Again, if you haven't liked the video by now, it's a good time to like it. So we have all of that, coming into play. They've claimed that Russia is almost out of equipment. You got to be kidding me. Just like the Persians, okay, whenever the Persians told the Spartans they'll black out the sun, and then, Leonidas was like, then we'll fight in the dark, whatever. Well, that's kind of how Russian artillery could work towards Ukraine. If they wanted to, it would be of epic proportions. And right now, they were saying that Vladimir Putin is bringing in, older tanks like T-55s and all this other stuff. Listen to me now. Again, he's a genius tactician, okay? Sending in all of his older tanks, and we waste all of our modern munitions. I mean, we're talking about Russia, folks. They believe they're dying for the greater good. And if you don't think that they would send out old tank units, okay, wow. So I'm trying to tell you that you need to look at it from different perspectives besides going, oh, well, he's just running out of tanks. That's why this is happening. No. Oh my gosh, no. Not to mention that he could pull... North Korea has a very, very aging fleet of... Not fleet, but amount of tanks that they're capable of deploying. They're definitely wore down. I mean, a lot of people don't understand that you really need to take a look at North Korea and their military before you really give too much into them being like an absolute danger and threat. Okay, you also need to look into their food stores and everything else that, you know, they're doing. Now, right now, Kim Jong is doing an excellent job of getting those supplies from all these other countries by offering what he does have, and that is manpower. So China has also mentioned that they're going to be doing operations with India and with Russia. Now this is a little alarming. India was with us in the South China Sea. Okay, they had ships helping. Now, yes, they do have a border dispute with China, but the simple fact that they would still, they worry me because India is 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And it seems like they're trying to weigh out who's going to be the winner, which, I mean, just seems like a trait that you could spot from a freaking, 100 miles out. And I don't know what to trust, who to trust, what to believe there. I don't like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and I also don't like people that drill with our current enemies. So we will have to keep an eye on that, and that's kind of where we're going to end this one, is we are watching the quote-unquote drills that are happening, but also the buildup. This is a buildup that you would do for shock and awe. And so if you don't remember shock and awe, I will try to help you remember shock and awe. It is
Jamie, these are
essentially
being fired now in Baghdad. I want
it's
viewers to listen in.
God's wrath on a modern scale. It's something that you almost can't describe. It is for the people that are going through it. It is absolute. I mean, nobody comes out of that unscathed. TBI, you're dealing with, shell shock, severe PTSD after that. I mean, you basically almost beat someone completely into submission. That's why it's very concerning for the innocent Ukrainian people that are just caught in the middle of this elitist conflict and war profiteer. Obviously, a war profiteering, conflict. A lot of people are being used as proxies, and it's very sad. It really is. But we're going to keep a continued eye on this. We're going to do everything we can to stay ahead of it for you. Please make sure, depending on what platform you're watching, please make sure to follow, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you enjoyed this one. We may have another video today, quite simply because of the fact that we had to wait a few days for the closing out of the Gastonia, North Carolina issue. If you missed episode 109 and 110, I highly advise you to watch them, as they have been some of the most heartwarming and rewarding work that we've done in a few projects. And it was wonderful to be able to assist the destitute and the homeless of those areas that were under such brutal attack, and their treatment. Oh my goodness, unbelievable. But anyhow, we are doing amazing things, and that's thanks to you. Please make sure to join up with us. One more voice is just adding to the Warfighter Bravo army, and I can use your support. So if this is your first time watching, please make sure to stick around, make sure to follow, make sure to subscribe, and keep up with more content. Thank you all, and as always, I'll see you for the next one.